Good news, everyone. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Zareth Prevails. We've got 3v3 announced, kind of, on their calendar. The CG has not told us any news beyond that, that we have a calendar. Hey, and the calendar happens to say 3v3 as our next thing that we're doing, the next GAC. And so I know that we're still in the middle of, we're going to start the next week of 5v5, the final week. And so we've got about 2 weeks to prep. And I wanted to give you guys a short list here. We're going to do a longer collaboration with Endal. We'll do a couple different videos on 3v3 teams to be working on and, comps to use. But I wanted to just kind of start jogging you guys' memory on 3v3 and mine, frankly, because it's been a while. It's been a very long while. 3v3 is exciting to me, but I know it's not going to be the most exciting for some people. And but our crystals are tied to it now, and I don't know if our leaderboard is going to be reset, whatever. My guess is not. My guess is that we're just going to play off of the current ladder, and so we need to get ready, guys. It's gonna be tough. 3v3 is gonna be tough. We need to get our crystals, and I mean, I'm gonna have fun. I hope you guys have fun too, because 3v3 has a lot of cool opportunities. We're going to jump in and just talk about some of these teams. This isn't a definitive list by any stretch. This is a list that I put together because I want to talk about some of these teams and just remind you, here are some of the things to be looking for and everything. So hopefully we keep this video somewhat short. I don't want it to go on like half an hour or anything. We'll see how it goes. However, so you guys actually know already. You can see how long the video is. I don't actually know. That's going to be exciting for someone, not me. So let's go to the frickin' game, shall we? Whoa, madness. We didn't even transition. We just like snapped and we're there. Madness. How'd we get here? This isn't a field. Okay. We've gone far afield from our original goal, apparently. Okay. We've got the first team, guys. And none of these teams are going to be like this cutting edge theorycraft. I love 3v3 for its theorycraft, but none of these teams are going to be that great. Like, a lot of them are going to be fairly obvious, but we already need reminders, right? So the Bossk Grief Mando team is one of my more favorite teams, just because, okay, so Mando needs to be able to do a basic at some point before he gets his disintegrate off, because his basic is what gives him his crit chance up, which is nice. He gets crit chance up, but then in order to disintegrate someone, which is somewhere here, let's see, is it his unique that gives it to him? Yeah, disintegrate while he has crit chance up or crit damage up, then it instantly defeats an enemy. So he has to have that buff, and so it's nice. Like, he can do it on his own, but it's nice to have a backup in case your opponent dispels you or something like that. Then you can have someone assist. And who better than the two guys who can, they can call mass assist. We've got a really strong taunt here. We've got Grief, who can dispel all the nonsense. He can cleanse all the nonsense. He can do all the stuff. Call the mass assists, and this team is just super resilient. Mando can call someone to assist outside of taunt. Just a very good team in general. You can use it to I think people were beating, were they beating CLS with it last time? I don't remember. People were killing all the things. I know it kills Grievous, but everything kills Grievous in 3v3, unfortunately, folks. So next we've got, this is one of the best teams out there, guys. This Jedi Revan team is honestly, it's so wholesome. It's not wholesome, but like it'll take oh man, it'll take everything out. Here's the awesome thing about the Jedi Revan team, guys. And this is probably my favorite version of it, frankly, because we have so much resilience packed into it. We have so many turns and turn meter manipulation here. But the awesome thing about Jedi Revan is he's part of a ton of different teams that can actually beat Galactic Legends. And well, I'm gonna try to do a video on off metas on how to kill Galactic Legends as well. I have one that I put out a while ago. There's not a ton of off meta in 3v3 though. That might have changed since what we played last in October, something like that. So I'm sure some of that has changed because we've got new characters. But here's the thing though, Jedi Revan can mark whoever. So in 3v3, everyone wants to taunt. All the teams that you're facing are gonna be taunting. And Jedi Revan says, I don't care about that. Unless you're stealthed, I don't care. And so, and he's like, yeah, and you know what? I make it so that my whole team doesn't care. For 2 whole turns, you're mine, B. And so, this team also combines a lot of really cool stuff, like Jedi Revan has his savior, which is pretty cool. It saves someone from dying, from imminent departure from this world, and then, from becoming one with the Force. We want to prevent that. So Jolee also helps bring people back from having become one with the Force. And then Grandmaster Yoda, he is chopping down turn meter. He is adding turn meter to himself. He's doing all kinds of cool stuff in acrobatics. He's doing his best job to remind us of why he beat Count Dooku in episode 2, which is, let me know in the comments, guys, what you think of that fight. Is that your favorite lightsaber fight ever? Alright, Mon Mothma with Cassian and K2. Now, one thing I should just point out real quick, guys, we're already going to get comments like this, but I know that my thumbnail says something like, work on these themes right away, and that's totally just over... I don't know. It's an overcompensating clickbait kind of thing to say. But here's the goal here is to discuss these teams, not to tell you guys you have to put relics on K2 and Cassian. I want to discuss why this is good and what it's bringing to the table, but don't feel like you have to put relics on these things, guys. You can. I did. Obviously, I think it's worthwhile if you're in a place that you can actually do it. But here's the thing. This team beats every version of General Grievous out there with really good banners, really consistently. And, you put some tenacity on them and some protection, and that's basically it. I don't have great modding on them at all, but Mon Mothma with K2 and Cassian is kind of a weird shift, I realize, because in 5v5, you don't use K2 or Cassian as part of her main team. Like, sometimes you could adapt and throw Cassian in there, but K2 is almost always left out. I don't even have K2's Zeta, which is kind of nice, actually. Every time he takes damage, he gets 1,000 hit points or something like that. 1% of his protection. But he's this tandem is really good. It doesn't only beat that... it doesn't only beat the Grievous teams, which we're gonna see Grievous on defense a lot, because Grievous sucks in 3v3, and people are like, man, I have Relic 7, Relic 8 on this character, all the different droids are high relic, like, we gotta put them on defense. This team beats it every single time. You could probably add like Cara Dune instead of K2. I think I've seen people do that, but at the end of the day, this team also, I've beat teams with Nest in it, actually, with Cassian's, because he has a suite of debuffs, and one of them is healing immunity. It also beats, like, any Newt team or Dengar, not Dengar, probably not Dengar anyways. It wears teams down. That's the thing that's really nice about this team. It beats any Dooku teams, that's what I'm trying to think of, because we've got all the dispels and everything, and we can summon Worthless Guy. It's a whole party. People are hitting K2, he's really tough to kill. It's just a really good, resilient team. This is one of my workhorse teams. It beats... you can't get too ambitious with it, but at the same time, I mean, you can beat, like, Night Sisters with it. You can do some cool stuff, guys. So, highly recommended. Get some tenacity on them. And, if you've got them already relicked, then why not? Plus, their U-Wing, their ship is going to be good forever on almost any fleet. Even if it gets kicked out of the Rebel fleet at some point, somehow, they're going to still do work on any fleet. They're amazing. All right, next. This is one of my favorite comps. We were doing this last season. It's called Thridian, and it doesn't look like much, but man, it beats CLS teams. It beats the GL Newt teams. It does all kinds of stuff. You probably do want a little bit more on Stormtrooper. It also beats Padme teams, actually, guys. You just works by controlling your opponent and getting a lot of armor shred on, because that starts stacking up the damage. It turns out if you do armor shred is just 50% of your opponent's armor, and then it's multiplicative, I believe, or whatever it's called, where it doesn't. So armor shred does 50% of your opponent's armor. Then the next time you hit someone with, or the next time you get armor shred on someone, then it negates 50% of that, so it's, goes up to 75% of their armor or defense or whatever you want to call it. And then after that, it's going to be 87.5, etc. So it has diminishing returns, but what ends up happening is Stormtrooper can do a whole lot of damage if he can ignore their armor and defense. Same with Thrawn, same with Gideon, and you have so much control here because you're reducing turn meter all the time on everyone, so you're taking a ton of turns. You can also just get Fracture with Thrawn, and then have Gideon reduce his turn meter at the last second, so that Thrawn just stays perpetually fracturing someone. It's a really cool team. It beats a ton of the current meta, guys, and, I mean, I don't know where I would stop. Like, does it beat Jedi Knight Luke? I'm not 100% sold on that, but I wouldn't mind trying it, honestly. It does beat CLS every time. It beats GL Newt. Beats a lot of stuff, guys. Really cool team with a bunch of characters that are kind of leftover, frankly. Now this is a team that's new. That obviously, like, we didn't have Omicrons last time, and this is something that you guys are going to really want to work on now. You don't need Ki-Adi-Mundi. People are going to be like, in the comments, like, oh, I don't have Ki-Adi-Mundi, I suck, or you suck, Zareth, for suggesting him. Someone sucks. We're going to use that verbiage, apparently. But here's the thing about it, folks. If you don't have Ki-Adi-Mundi, you suck. No, I mean, your guild probably does, but you'll get there. You'll get there. Your guild is probably small and full of awesome people. I have no doubt. But here's the thing, guys. Now, let me put my elitist self away for 1 second and just say that I think that this team is really strong with or without Ki-Adi-Mundi. Ki-Adi-Mundi, the nice thing about it is you don't have to have him relic. I know I have him relic 8, and obviously I think he's very, very worthwhile, but you don't need him at relic 8. You can have him at really low gear, and as long as you have a Zeta, he's going to buff Anakin, and Anakin's going to be the one who does all of the killing. So this team is going to be amazing because Bad Batch is just kind of neutered in 3v3, and Bad Batch is the primary counter to this. What other teams can we use? I mean, probably like Commander Luke team or something, but I don't know. If Anakin gets loose, he's just going to wreck people. And even if you do manage to kill Anakin, Ki-Adi-Mundi is no joke either. If you can spare him. I mean, Ayla probably works as well. Just make sure it's Galactic Republic Jedi, guys. All right, another one. Wampa, guys. If you don't have Wampa up and running right now, I mean, if you're not in a point in the game where it's responsible to actually have Wampa, then don't you can disregard. But if you already have Wampa, if you already this is his time to shine. I think it's going to be very difficult to create a Wampa-proof board in 3v3. 5v5 it's already challenging enough, though you can do it, at least at the high end. At the lower end, man, he's just going to go on a rampage. He's going to just wreck people, and it's going to be awesome. Get the Omicron, guys. All right, another one is Iden with Death and Stormtrooper. I mean, Iden's probably going to have to make do with lesser troopers, frankly. At least at first, that's what I think. Because I really want Death Trooper to go with... well, I have a project for him. I'm not going to tell you guys what the project is. In fact, it's kind of fun, and it's experimental, and I'm not ready to share. But he's got an interesting thing going on. Stormtrooper wants to go with Thridian, guys. Go with Thridian and prosper. But, I mean, if you don't want to do either of those eccentric teams, one of which I haven't even listed yet because I'm being needlessly mysterious, then we can probably just say that, Iden can probably take these two. Oh, and if not, she can make do with like Stark and range or something. It's probably not very good, frankly, but who knows? She's got the right mechanics to make this really good. Alright, so one of my favorite teams ever, guys, is any team with Han and Chewie. And someone who buffs them. Like, you could take Greedo. Read the kits, guys, if you want the leaderships. Greedo goes well with them. Wedge goes well. Dash is probably going to end up being really good with them. Bando is also another one. This team counters General Skywalker. It's super neat. Fennec is someone you definitely don't want to sleep on. At least you don't want to ignore. Sleeping on is a totally different matter of preference. But here's the thing. Fennec is potentially she has the mechanics to solo things. And in 5v5, that just doesn't really work. They just didn't really quite make it happen. So, but here's the thing. A lot of what her leadership is buffing her and her ability to solo things. So really excited to see how she plays out in 3v3. She might also just go with like Scion of Django or something like that. She's gonna be good though. Another team that works really well in threes is this Rex 5's Barris team, because we've got a really good taunt and you've got a really good healing, and then 3v3 it's just tougher to wield a ton of damage. And so what ends up happening a lot of times is you just time out against this team, and Rex just Rexecutes your face off. This is also a really good team on offense, folks, just to keep in mind. If your opponent has one of the pretty good counters to this, then you can just take it on offense and melt people's faces with Rex. It's pretty fun. Don't say Rexalate because it's dumb. Say Rexecute. Alright, this is GL Newt, and this is one of my favorite teams ever. I think its day was already starting, the sun was starting to set, but this team has ridiculous amounts of turn meter manipulation and resilience and damage. And obviously I have them all at Relic 7 because I'm crazy, and also because I have all the GL requirements. But guys, this team does a ton of damage, and it heals a ton with B1. Django, you have to kill him twice, you have to kill Newt twice. The team is just really, really resilient, and it's probably gonna last on defense for a while, at least a little bit longer. Commander Luke, Chewpio, and 3PO. This is the kind of heir apparent to the CLS team, just because you still have all the cool turn meter manipulation. You probably want to put a crit avoid arrow on Commander Luke just to make sure that the Jedi training Rey counter can't work on him as well, because you don't want him to crit him. And otherwise, this team does pretty well on defense. I mean, at this point, there's a lot of different solutions to it, and probably wondering what EP Mara is going to be doing to it. But this team has been, for a very long time, one of the backbones of defense, and people struggle against it still. Speaking of EP Mara, guys, I don't know if Starkiller ends up being able to work with them well, if they modify his special or his unique to go with them well. That's probably going to be what we end up doing, just because you can cycle through so many attacks. Like Mara Jade does a basic, and the other two do a basic, and that Star Destroyer is going to be doing some crazy work. I mean, If Starkiller isn't here, this team is not going to drop off too much. You probably do want an Empire character or Sith that deals some kind of debuff, AoE kind of thing, because Mara Jade, in 5v5, she can run the table on different teams. Like, in a lot of ways, 3v3 kind of nerfs her because she's not going to gain as much turn meter, basically. And the amount of shock that Emperor Palpatine is going to be generating to get all of his bonus turn meter is not going to happen as much. So you probably want someone who can help you control things a little bit, do AoEs consistently, etc. This is going to be a very good team in 3v3. I don't know who's going to be the next one. I mean, Vader might just end up being the one, but okay, so finally Dash with these two. I don't know if this is going to be the best version, guys. I do like the idea of Dash with Vander, but this just seems a little bit too, I don't know, like there's only, I guess Vander and Dash can both do a lot of damage. This is a decent team. I think this is the baseline of what I'm thinking. I mean, we're going to be experimenting with a lot of different teams, and I'll be doing, like I said, another video on all these different team comps that, more team comps for offense, defense. We'll have End-All Be-All on with me because he's a great theory crafting mind for this sort of stuff as well, and it's going to be a good time, guys. 3v3 is awesome. Can't wait to hear what you guys think. What teams are you excited to use, guys? I know this list isn't definitive, but I want to hear what you have to say. Thank you all so much for watching, and remember that in all things, Xerath prevails.